Good evening, everybody, and welcome. This is the New York Encounter 2015, by God's grace and with a lot of help from our friends. I am just a poor wayfaring stranger wandering through this world of woe. Yet there's no sickness, toil, nor danger in that bright land to which I go. I'm going there to see my Father. I'm going there no more to roam. I'm just going over Jordan. I'm just going over home. That is the song that Kenny Lavender just played so beautifully. That's what it says. And it's traditional music, but Kenny made it also new. It made it his own. It made it New York. He made it New York somehow. It made it home. My hope and desire is that the encounter be home to all of us. A strange home, though, because it will soon send us back into the world. We built this place, you know, this was like an empty shell until this morning, believe it or not. But we built this place because of the faith, hope, and charity that we have received. And we're here because we're still searching. We're building because we're still searching. We're today's poor wayfaring strangers. And along the way, lots of friends, all searchers, will be with us during the weekend. And the first one is a father, and we're extremely grateful and happy that he came to help us as we begin our journey. So thank you, Your Eminence, and please, this thing is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Praise be Jesus Christ. Sia lodato Gesù Cristo. Sempre sia lodato. He's right. You are at home here. And I'm the one who's happy and grateful to have the singular honor of welcoming you to New York City. That you would choose this city that I now cherish as my earthly home for this promising encounter means a lot to us here in New York. And for the last 7 or 8 years, it's been a source of real blessings for us in the Archdiocese and the wider community. As is, everybody, and hear me say this, as is the radiant presence of Comunione e Liberazione here in the city. I see you in action here in New York. I meet you everywhere. And I can say with intense sincerity that you are truly salt to the earth and light to the world. And for that, I praise God and I thank all of you. And that makes my welcome all the warmer. I do need to lose weight. Can we dull that while I'm talking here? My, oh my. At least I'm covering the bald spot, huh? Yeah. Am I right? In search of the human face. Am I right? Is that your theme? In search of the human face. A cynic might ask, what is so religious about that? What's so spiritual about that theme? What does that have to do with faith? What's so Christian about that theme, in search of the human face? My, oh my, what is this? A cynic might ask. Is this a meeting of dermatologists? Is this a cosmetology convention for makeup or something in search of the human face? We know better. We know better. We are not cynics. We know in search of the human face is actually part of the odyssey for the very face of God. In the human face, we see an icon of God's face. In the face of every human person, we see Veronica's veil, the image of Jesus himself. And when God our Father looks at a human face, including our own, he sees the face of his Son. That vision, I would suggest to you, as you open Encounter 2015, that vision is what inspired the great saints that we are so proud to claim here in New York. I guess, for instance, that's why a man named St. Isaac Jogues would arrive here to love and embrace and serve those considered to be savages and less than human, for he saw in their reddened faces the spark of the divine. Maybe that's why another of our saints, Kateri Tekakwitha, saw her Lord in the hills and the rivers and the trees and the sky and the winds, as for her, the earthly face of nature revealed the very face and design of God. Perhaps that's why another one of ours, Elizabeth Ann Seton, tells us she became a Catholic as she professed that the face of Christ she sensed in the Holy Eucharist so hypnotized her human gaze. I suppose that's why another New Yorker, Saint Marianne Cope, found the reflection of Jesus in the infected, swollen, pus-oozing faces of lepers as she worked with St. Damien on Malachi. Or why a Mother Frances Xavier Cabrini, on streets only blocks away from here, would sense the tears of Christ in the tearful faces of abandoned orphans of Italian immigrants. I'll bet that's what led Dorothy Day, another woman who walked streets very near here, believed that such things as war and violence and hunger and racism and abortion and poverty and homelessness contorted both the human face and therefore defiled the face of Jesus. Is that why, for instance, Fulton J. Sheen, buried at St. Patrick's Cathedral, throughout the radio and television stations of this city on Broadway, told us that to be a Catholic means to find the face of the divine in the face of a mother and baby at Bethlehem, in the glow of bread and wine at Mass, in the face of an older woman tolling beads through her arthritic hands in the back of church, and in the face and voice of an old man dressed in white who lives in Rome. What is man that you are so mindful of him? Asks the psalmist. You have made him little less than a god. The glory of God is man fully alive. Something tells me it's that belief which animates the magnificent charism of Comunione e Liberazione. Each Good Friday morning, when I have the honor and joy of joining thousands of you to do the Stations of the Cross over the Brooklyn Bridge, I think how iconic that is of the charism of Luigi Giussani, who wanted to build a bridge, yes, between God and man, yes, between the human face and the face of God, yes, between everything that is noble and enlightening and uplifting in culture with the church. For him, church and culture were not oil and water, but more like vermouth and gin in a good martini. And that's why the face of God was so evident in the usually somewhat disheveled face, with eyes ever twinkling and mouth ever smiling, of Lorenzo Albacete, whom in a moment we will recall with love and reverence and gratitude. And that's why, everybody, as I look at your human faces beginning this providential weekend, I also see a reflection of God's. That's why your theme is so pertinent. And that's why I'm very glad you're here and my welcome is so enthusiastic. God bless your weekend.